Oh hey GameLeapers! Who wants to know about the 13.1 changes and what they might mean for League of Legends in Season 13? What's up guys, this is Eags, and in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to be going through. The buffs and nerfs to champions, items, runes that Riot have actually released on Twitter for patch 13.1 that is getting released in a few days time. So if you guys want to actually hit the ground running in Season 13 as soon as it starts, make sure you stick around for the whole video, and of course guys, make sure to check out our GameLeap website because our challenger players and coaches are uploading daily videos to help you become the best player you can possibly be, whether it's a champion course, a champion guide, a high elo VOD analysis of your favorite champion and maybe player. Make sure you check out those resources via the links down below. And yeah, let's get into the 13.1 changes. Now we'll start with champion buffs. So first of all, AD Shaco is getting buffed, but to be honest, I don't really know how these buff AD Shaco, so if we listen here, Q mana cost. This is going down by 20 from 60 to 40. This is useful, I kind of guess, in the early game, but honestly, who really plays AD Shaco and thinks, wow, I really wish I had more mana? No one, right? This change honestly is so insignificant they probably didn't even have to mention it. But moving on, your Q's backstab is actually getting buffed. So it's going from 30% to 40% based on the crit chance. And this is good if you're going critical strike Shaco, but the problem is that build really isn't that good. It means you're full glass cannon with pretty much no ability haste, and it's just a suboptimal way of playing AD Shaco. So these two Q buffs, completely pointless. Like they actually don't do anything for the champion, but maybe something that would help Shaco is the AD ratio in his E, which Riot are buffing by 5%. This means the more attack damage you have, right, the more damage your 2-shift poison will deal. But honestly, 3 buffs to AD Shaco, as Riot put it, these leave a lot to be desired, and is something all you jesters out there, well, you shouldn't really get too excited about, to be honest. Now moving on, Jace, your base AD going up by 3. This is big for your early game, your early laning phase, because that is really what Jace is about. You're picking this dude to win lane, right? Because he doesn't really have many counters, if any, so your base AD going up by 3, this is actually a buff. Also, when you're in your melee form, your W's tick damage, and when you activate your W, this is dealing an extra 10 damage at each rank. This is actually like big, an extra 10 damage. This makes your laning phase again even stronger. And also not only your W is getting buffed, your Q is getting buffed as well. So when you come down from the skies, this is dealing an extra 10 damage at rank 1 all the way up to an extra 35 damage at rank 5. And because you'll be maxing your Q first, these buffs are huge for Jace. Now I don't think they'll make him like Giga Broken, pick and ban, but honestly in pro play, that's what he'll be after these buffs, guarantee it. Now moving down to the mid lane, we have Lissandra, and a bit like Jace is getting some legit buffs here. So for this, your HP per level is going up by 6, so you'll have more HP at level 18. This means for your scaling, you will be tankier in the mid to late game in particular. Also, your Q's slow. This is getting buffed by 4% at rank 1 to 8% at rank 5. So when you actually damage an enemy champion with your Q, the slow attached to them, well, it's just more severe, right? They've got less chance of getting away, so you can go in and actually CC them for your teammates. Also, your W's cooldown is going down by 2 seconds at each rank. 2 seconds is a significant amount of time, believe it or not. These buffs for Liz are big, and they actually bring her back maybe into being a possible mage to pick, instead of just purely being an Ahri LeBlanc counter pick, which is what she's been in pro play. Now moving back to the top lane here, we have Sion, and your base HP is getting buffed by 40. This is actually really big. This means for your laning phase, so in the early game, you are a lot tankier and just harder to kill. Also, your Q's max damage, so when you actually charge that Q up, when an enemy champion is on top of that cone-like structure, they are going to be copying 20 more damage at each rank. This really benefits good Sion players, right? So if you're playing from Fog of War, or if you're catching enemies off guard, or if you're just like chain CCing them, so you might go in with your ultimate, land it, and then use your Q. So you have to be smart about using this, but this does reward those Sion players who are Sion mains. So these changes look good for Sion, and no doubt the Baus and his followers are grinning from ear to ear about this one. Now moving down to the bot lane, we have Xayah, and your base attack speed is going up from 0.625 to 0.658. So over a 0.3 increase here. This is actually big as well, and I know I've said that for a few buffs so far, but honestly, for an attack speed based champion, for your base attack speed to get buffed, it's a big early game laning phase enhancement of your power. And also for Xayah, you're getting more attack speed per level because your attack speed ratio is going up by exactly the same amount. So for the mid to late game, this is a buff as well. So your early game buffed, your mid to late game buff. Now Xayah is a specific champion. You really want to be picking this AD carry into compositions where they have lots of dive, because your ultimate just completely counters them. It's a big cut. But still, just innately speaking here, if you pick Xayah as a blind pick or as a counter pick, she's going to be a heck of a lot better in 13.1. Now the last champion getting buffed, guys, this is Twisted Fate. So there are a lot of champions here who we've seen in pro play in recent years, Twisted Fate obviously being another one, so whenever he gets buffed, we do have to watch out. So your Q's cooldown, the actual cooldown is going down from rank 2 onwards, so when you have 2 points in your Q, it's going down by 0.25 seconds, all the way down to 1 second at rank 5. This is big because your Q is your wave clear. It's your poke. Now, you're probably not really going to be doing too much with your Q apart from clearing waves, right? But at level 9, this becomes really useful. On top of this, there are 2 more TF buffs. Both of these are to your W. So your W's blue card, the AP ratio is going up by a whopping 25%. Now, in the early game, this won't actually really mean too much, right? Because as far as ability power goes, you're not going to have too much. But as you scale into a game, your blue card is going to be doing an insane amount of damage. Now, I don't think this is really going to be like too apparent and too meaningful for that reason, right? Late game, you're just going to be pretty much using your gold card with maybe a rapid fire cannon. You're just playing Twisted Fate as you would play Twisted Fate. I don't think it's really going to change how you play him. But maybe one buff that's a bit more significant is your W's red card AP ratio, which is getting buffed by 10%. Because your red card, you can use it in late game team fights, right? If the enemy team is grouped together, using your red card, you will damage them with the red card's AoE. So this buff might be a little bit better than the blue card. Yes, it's a massive increase, but regardless of what we actually think and how big we think these buffs are, they are legit buffs, and these might push Twisted Fate back into the pro scene permanently. Now, moving on to champion nerfs, guys. Finally, Aatrox, the Darkened Blade, is getting nerfed, but are these really going to be big nerfs? Your passive's damage is getting nerfed, right? So in the early stages of a game, by 1%, in the late stages, to 2%. But the damage from your passive, is that really the big reason why Aatrox is broken? Honestly, probably not, right? Now moving on, your E's healing during your ultimate. Ryder nerfing this again. So this is going down by 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 by rank 5. Honestly though, doesn't really change too much, because really the strength for Aatrox is in your sweet spot damage, right? That is what is making this champion broken. Now, of course, that is great for good Aatrox players, right? But it still just seems too difficult to get onto this champion and beat him in a 1v1, unless you are like a one-trick Aurelia. But maybe this next nerf is the nerf that will bring Aatrox down to everyone else's level. So your ultimate's movement speed is going down by 10% to 15% to 20% at rank 3. Now, honestly, the fact you're getting 50% movement speed at level 6 or a rank 1 ultimate, that's just absurd. Like, even though this is nerfed, I still don't think you're really going to notice it too much, and that's kind of the same with the rest of these Aatrox nerfs. I guess they might bring his win rate down by around like 1%, but the champion, especially in high relos, is still going to be a dominant blind pick, and just pick champion. Now moving down to Dr. Mundo, another top laner, your base HP, so pretty much the opposite to Sion here, is getting nerfed by 40, down from 653 to 613. Your armor growth is getting nerfed by 0.5. This is big. This means in the mid to late game, you will be easier for attack damage champions to actually damage. Also, your E's bonus attack damage that you get when you pop your E, this is down based on your max HP. This hopefully will make him a little less prevalent and dominant, especially in low elos. Now staying in the top lane, Fiora, another blind pick champion, is getting nerfed, and this one honestly might be the most significant because your passive, your vital damage, is getting nerfed here based on each 100 bonus AD you have. This affects your scaling, which is one of Fiora's big strengths. Also, your Q's damage based on your bonus AD is getting nerfed as well by 5% at each level. These are legit nerfs. Fiora mains, let me know in the comment section what you think about them. Now also in the top lane, Cassante, who is probably another blind pick top laner because he is so innately strong, your base movement speed is getting nerfed by 5. Your passive's damage is getting nerfed by 5. Also, your W's minimum damage that you can deal is going down significantly by 2.25% based on the target's maximum HP at each level. But not only this, the maximum physical damage you can deal is also down by 1.25%. So Cassante mains out there, just like Fiora mains, let me know in the comment section if you think these buffs are going to kill your champion, or if you think they're still going to be insanely broken. Now moving into the jungle for a second here, we have Rammus, who's really been dominating play in like every single elo, which is kind of surprising because he's such a linear champion, and if you just pick magic damage champions into him, he's kind of useless. But anyway, your attack damage, base attack damage down by 3. This means that when you're auto-attacking in the early game, so getting through jungle camps, even if you're auto-attacking enemy champions, right, when you gank them, land your E, you are dealing less damage. Your base HP is down by 20, 634 to 614. On top of this, your W's armor is down by 15, and also the percentage armor is down by 20% in the early game as well, but it is the same at rank 5. Now moving down to the bot lane here, 2 champions getting nerfed. One of them is Yuumi. So your Q's damage is going down by 10 at each rank from rank 2 onwards. So it's going from 50, well it's staying at 50 at rank 1, but it's going from 90 at rank 2 to 80, 130 at rank 3 to 110, and so on until it's going from 250 at rank 5 to 200. Big nerfs for your Q's damage. This makes you a lot weaker during the laning phase. Now your empowered Q's damage is also getting nerfed by exactly the same amount. So from 10 at rank 2 up to 50 at rank 5. Now, the other champion in the bot lane getting nerfed, guys, this is Zeri. So your AD growth is going down by 0.2. This means your late game, your mid to late game, your scaling is a little worse. But on top of this, your Q's damage is also getting nerfed as well by 1 at rank 2 all the way up to 4 at rank 5. Now, I don't think these will just destroy Zeri, because in high reloads in particular, this champion is still doing very well, especially if you compare her with a Yuumi, with a Lulu, someone who can actually buff your attack speed. So I don't think it will mean too much, but they are nerfs. Now, the final changes to talk about, guys, these are all system buffs, nerfs, or adjustments. So let's start with the system buffs. Now, Axiom Arc, your lethality is going up by 8. This is the item that reduces your ultimate's cooldown rate when you get takedowns. So if you're really snowballing and you're an attack damage assassin, this might be worth considering now, because your lethality is almost doubling with the item. Now, Horizon Focus, your ability power is going up by 15 from 85 to 100. Will this make the item more worth? Well, if you actually have CC in your kit or big range, so you might be playing like a Lux or a Xerath in the mid lane, this certainly makes it a bit more interesting. Now, Rod of Ages is also getting buffed as well. The HP is going up to 400, so 100 increase, and the actual stats you're getting from the Eternity passive, well, you're getting less movement speed, but the actual amount is going up by 10%, and Riot have also mentioned here that they've given the item a bunch of quality of life changes and bug fixes. Now, moving on, we have Winter's Approach. This item, which honestly has just been like completely forgotten about, the cost is going down by 100, so to 2600 total, and you're getting more HP from the item. Remember, this is the item that builds in the Fimbulwinter, so if you're playing something like Gragas top lane, some sort of mana using tank, this should catch your eye. Now, moving down to system nerfs, Legend Tenacity, the rune, that's the only one that's getting nerfed here. So it's going from 5% base, well, it's staying at 5% base, but the actual percentage you're getting from the stacking, this is going down by 1%, so from 2.5% to 1.5%. This obviously affects a lot of top laners because you're probably going Conqueror as your keystone. It might even affect some mid laners who are going the same tree or lethal tempo, for example. So if you're Yone or Yasuo, those champions are affected by this. Now, moving down to adjustments, guys, we have 2 items getting changed here. So Jaxo, first of all, the cost is going up by 100. Also, the resistances you get, they're being based on your bonus resistances now. This means that for tank champions who are just building resistances and they're actually going tanky items, this benefits them more than those bruisers and fighters who are abusing Jaxo, right? Because they won't just be building purely armor and magic resist items. They might be able to go Death's Dance or more Malmortius, but outside of those 2 items, there really aren't that many. Now, the drain amount is actually getting buffed based on enemy champions, but the key here is that it's no longer going to drain minions or monsters. Honestly, I don't know why that was the reason in the first place. It's kind of like the Collector in a way, when you are executing minions or monsters. So these look like nice changes for Jaxo. We'll just have to see how the item performs come 13.1. Now, the final change, guys, to talk about, this is to Seraph's Embrace, and oh my goodness, this item is actually going to be an item again, because the total cost, even though it's going up to 3,000, your AP is going up by 20 from 60 to 80. You're getting ability haste from the item now as well, just flat, so a flat 10 ability haste. Oh my goodness, our prayers have been answered. Also, it's grinding AP equal to 2.5% of your bonus mana, so it's kind of like the old Seraphs in a way. And speaking of the old Seraphs, you're also getting the Lifeline passive instead of that Empyrean passive, so you're actually getting that shield back based on the current mana you have. So champions like Ryze, Kassadin, and Cassiopeia, you guys should be chuffed with this. And by the way, if you're a mid laner and don't have Kassadin in your champion pool come 13.1, you're trolling. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Any comments on the changes, let us know in the comment section. Please like the video to let us know you want these videos to continue. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. This has been Peace.